Hello everyone, we're back with more progress on the CL55. We have quite a significant amount of work completed. Have a look over there, we've got an engine and a gearbox that was not there previously. We've got a significant portion of the rear end dismantled. And what have I found underneath here? Well, let's have a quick look. Right, so we're just going to zoom up here. Right, so we have the subframe off. We have quite a lot of hidden rust, as we always thought. It's always worse when you start pulling things off. One interesting thing is the ABC struts have come off, and we have a rust inside the suspension tower, interestingly. So they were quite interesting to get the bolts off for them. We haven't actually started treating any of the rust yet, as you can tell, but it is getting there slowly. We've got most of the rear ABC lines off and the rear ABC struts. Brake lines, fuel lines we haven't dealt with yet because we have a full tank of fuel in the car. Not quite sure how that ended up happening, but yeah, that's interesting. This is only a little update. We've got a significant part of parts that have been accrued, as you can see. Let's have a look at the old ABC struts, shall we? So these are pretty rusty. We're getting rid of these and we're going to replace them with a second-hand set that are nice and non-rusty. Same thing with the lines. This is why we're replacing the lines, if you have a look. So this is where they'll fail. The corrosion will stop the clamping force on the hose. You hit a big bump and the shock will pop the rubber section out of here, and then all of your ABC fluid will exit at once. So they've come off. We have new bellows to go on the replacement struts. So these will prevent the ABC struts from destroying their seals over time. It's very important that those bellows are intact. What we'll do is I'll show you the new or the replacement ABC struts that we've got here. See, they're in much better condition rust-wise. We'll go through our little interim top mount repair that we tend to do on these that works very well rather than trying to rebond them or replace them. Here's more ABC lines for the car. This is parts that we started taking off the car. Look at the condition on these, shall we? We've got this is the transmission tunnel. As you can see, anywhere that's got any sort of sound deadening or insulation is completely rust free. That is a clip for the handbrake, which is destroyed. This one goes up here like this. We'll make sure we replace them because when they fall off when you're driving, you end up with annoying noises. And now we have the engine bay. Look at that. No engine in there at all. So as you can see, again, no corrosion really up here where the heat shielding is. And then as soon as you make that crossover into the area where sort of spray, etc. can attack, is when we ended up here. This is why we're taking everything apart. So we see we can catch this nice and early. Let me just cover that light up there, stupid window. Who wants natural light, eh? Go away. There we go. So we can see we've got some corrosion there. We're going to treat that. Never for it to come back again. Same on this side where we've got some ABC lines. These remnants of oil leaks in the past. We're going to be taking the washer bottle off so that you can just about see there the tap for the water methanol injection system. We're going to take that off, clean out the system, find a nice location for the pump. We've had a nice bit of exhaust modifications done, so the secondary air injection pump will be disposed of and we will map it out of the engine ECU. All of the suspension components are going to be coming apart as well. All the corrosion that's just starting in the front wheel arches will be dealt with. So yes, what I'm going to do now is just cut across to the engine. Very nice engine it is. And I'm going to move it so you can have a better look at the work that we're doing on it. Right, here we've got the engine. Let me just remove this handle. We don't need that handle, do we? There we go, right. So we're going to be replacing the bearings in this supercharger belt wrap kit. We're also going to be taking the supercharger off. This important pipe needs to go somewhere safe. Go with the other ABC stuff. When I come around here, you can see what we've done with the water methanol system in the past. So we have a relocated air intake temperature sensor. The original one is down here. The water methanol nozzles are here, if you can just about see them. There's one there, there's one on the other side, and then there's a Y distributor there. Oops, just broke the end of that. I'll just pull out. So the reason we relocated the air intake temperature sensor is with the water methanol nozzles so close to the intake temperature sensor, we will end up spraying water onto the intake temperature sensor, which will give it an artificially low reading. The engine ECU will pull timing, well, add timing, sorry, because it'll think, oh, nice cold intake charge, and then you'll cause detonation and then problems, and we don't want any of that sort of thing. So we relocate the sensor up here so that there's enough time for the water methanol to have evaporated in the airstream. I mean, arguably it'd be better maybe there or there, but like anything, there's packaging issues. We could have put it here maybe. We've also got a boost tap here just for reference, for maybe an analog boost gauge, or for, I mean, we used this initially to give a boost reference for the water methanol injection system so that it can know how much boost there is, because the system is variable. This engine does not have leaking rocker covers, but it's very common. If we just come down here, it's very common to have leaking rocker covers on M113s. This is really dry. There's a little bit wet there, but that's probably from where it's been overflowed from the filler. We come around this side to see. Yeah, you see, nice and clean as well. This engine in the past has probably been resealed by Terry at Wayne Gates. I'm not surprised it's not leaking again. Other than that, we're going to be drilling. I know this sounds pretty dramatic, but we're going to be drilling a hole into the crankshaft so that this pulley, this larger pulley, as you can see, there's a wider diameter outer pulley. This pulley is has a bit more pressure on the crankshaft, and as a result, it can destroy the original keyway that's in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill another hole, and we're going to pin what's known as pinning the crankshaft, so that it's going to have two keyways, or one pin there and one keyway. So that way it will just give it a bit more support so that it doesn't damage the crankshaft. If this bolt comes loose, this pulley will wobble around all over the place. It will damage the outside of the crankshaft keyway potentially, and it will definitely damage the timing case, and we don't want that. These are some of the seals that we're replacing. As you can see, it's a bit oily down here. This is probably just from oil that's come out of the oil cooler, but we're replacing all of these anyway because it's easy peasy whilst we're here and not easy when we're not here. This is the belt wrap kit, as you can see. It actually works very well. There's a lot of these that aren't very good, but this one is pretty good. That's about all we're doing here. We're going to take the subframe off, give it a clean as always. We've taken all the bracketry and things off, front sort of brackets that hold all the little plates on, all of the rear brackets that hold the ABC pipes, clamps, things like that. And we are treating them in, if I show you, good ball. We're treating them in citric acid solution. So if we turn the old torch on, there you go. So these have been in here for about 2 or 3 hours. If you have a look, see this corrosion, it's just rubs off. You see, this is all surface now. They've been done with a wire brush. You should have seen the state of these before we started doing them. The reason we're rush repairing things like this trivial bracket is because they're like £70 each from Mercedes, which is just insanity. I'm not paying £70 for a bit of stamped metal. I could make new ones. I'm not doing that. We're not spending all this work to make the car nice and clean underneath and treat all the rust and then have rusty brackets that just let down the look of the car. Maybe a bit OCD, maybe not necessary. You can see here that this is just washing off there. Look at that. So once we've treated these, there's clearly a hole in my gloves because now my hands are burning. Once these have been completely treated and all the rust has been sort of dealt with, we will end up with a component that looks like this. So this has been treated and then it has been epoxy primered. So epoxy primer sort of chemically bonds with the base metal and seals it so that it's not going to continue to rust afterwards. Then once that's done, we will paint it up and it will look lovely and shiny. These are the infamous quick release valves. on the ABC struts, front and rear, with a rubber cover to prevent them from getting corroded. Obviously 20 years later, doesn't matter what you really do for this, it's very unlikely you're going to get this quick release off without spending hours and hours with sort of penetrating fluid and going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. They've got balls in them, and you pull the collar down and then the balls are meant to move back up so you can pull the connector off. It never works. A lot of the time people opt to remove the connector from in here, as you can see, but again, that's not exactly a trivial thing. For these, for example, they're sort of up here, so I don't know how you're meant to gimbal. They're up here, so it's impossible for you to get access to them. So yeah, anyway, the only thing we're going to treat now is we're going to deal with this rust. Obviously we've got to get this fuel line off. I don't quite know how we're going to get this fuel line off because the tank is full of fuel. We're going to have to drain the fuel. We're going to have to drain 90 litres of petrol out of this car. You can't do grinding and sanding and things when there's a petrol tank full of petrol. This is the rear valve block, everything's disconnected, some plugs are going to go in there, these are going to be replaced. So yeah, just a little interim update. Lots going on, but not much in the way of updates for the video, because unfortunately it's all just taking stuff apart and cleaning it out, which is very time consuming, but it doesn't give you very dramatic videos. So follow us next time when we have hopefully got the rear end of the car nice and rust free.